You are special because you endure. There is something sacred in survival, in the way you have fallen and still found the will to rise. Every scar on your heart is a stanza of strength, every tear a river that cleansed the way for joy to return. Endurance is not the absence of pain, it is a decision to move forward even when your bones remember every sorrow. I have seen people dressed in quiet suffering, wearing their grief like invisible garments, yet still they stand. They cook meals for their children. They smile for the world. They whisper prayers no one hears. That, to me, is holy work. That is the kind of beauty that cannot be captured in mirrors or measured by success. Endurance is the melody that hums beneath the noise of despair. It is the small, trembling voice that says, I will try again. When the nights are long and your spirit feels like it's sinking into the soil of loss, endurance is the unseen root that holds you steady. You may think you are weak because you cry, because your knees have bent beneath the weight of what life has given you, but my dear, even the tallest trees bend in storms, and still they do not break. They have learned the rhythm of survival, to sway, to yield, and to rise again when the wind passes. That is what you do too. You bend, you weep, you wait, and then you lift yourself back toward the light. You see, endurance is not a loud victory. It does not announce itself with trumpets or applause. It moves quietly in the shadows of your daily life. It's there when you drag yourself out of bed on mornings that feel heavier than mountains. It's there when you smile, not because you are happy, but because you have chosen peace over bitterness. It's in the way you forgive people who have wounded you, not because they deserve it, but because your spirit cannot thrive in chains. That is endurance. That is grace in motion. When I was younger, I believed that strength was the absence of tears. I thought to endure meant to harden, but life has shown me otherwise. True endurance is soft. It feels deeply. It breaks open. It bleeds. It loves again after betrayal. It trusts again after disappointment. It refuses to let the darkness teach it how to hate. Real endurance is not about pretending you are unshaken. It is about standing in your truth while the earth quakes beneath your feet. It is about knowing that even if your hands tremble, your soul does not. I have seen endurance in the faces of mothers who buried their dreams so their children could live theirs. I have seen it in men who have been knocked down by life's cruelty and still find laughter in the simplest of things, a warm meal, a sunrise, a song on the radio. I have seen endurance in elders who carry the weight of history and still speak of hope as if it were a living thing. These are the unsung heroes of humanity, not the ones who never fall, but the ones who rise with dust on their skin and fire in their eyes. And if you, sitting here today, think you have lost too much, that you are too tired, too worn, too small to go on, let me remind you, you have already endured more than you thought you could. You have survived heartbreaks that once felt fatal, loneliness that felt endless, fear that tried to silence you. But look at you, you are here, you are breathing, you are becoming. There is power in that. There is holiness in that. Endurance is the quiet testament of your spirit, a whisper that says, I am still here. It does not need to roar to be strong. It does not need to win to be worthy. It simply keeps moving, step by trembling step, toward tomorrow. And maybe that is all any of us are meant to do, to keep showing up for life even when life forgets to show up for us. Because in that showing up, in that simple act of persistence, we reveal what makes us truly special, the ability to rise again and again from the ashes of our own becoming. You are special because you feel the ability to ache, to care, to love. That is the mark of the living. A heart that dares to open again and again is a heart that knows God. We live in a world that teaches us to hide our softness, to wear strength like armor and silence like pride. But feeling, truly feeling, is not weakness. It is the raw pulse of humanity moving through your veins. It is the heartbeat of the earth reminding you that you belong to something vast, ancient, and alive. To feel is to be awake, to be tuned to the symphony of existence, the laughter, the grief, the wonder, the loss, the joy that spills over like light after a storm. There was a time when I thought my feelings were burdens to be tamed. I thought my tears made me fragile, that empathy was a crack in my armor. But I learned through the unkind lessons of life that those who feel deeply are not fragile, they are forged in fire. Their hearts may break, but they do not turn to stone. Instead, they become rivers flowing, cleansing, carrying life wherever they move. When you feel, you invite truth to sit beside you. You welcome understanding, compassion, forgiveness. These are not simple guests. They demand that you listen, that you see, that you surrender. But in their company, you grow. You become tender and mighty all at once. There is great courage in allowing your heart to remain open in a world that has so often tried to close it. To feel joy even after disappointment, to love again after betrayal, to hope after loss. That is the quiet defiance of the human soul. Feeling is the act of choosing light when darkness has made a home in your memory. It is the choice to see beauty in what remains, to see the sacred in the ordinary, in a stranger's smile, in the sound of rain, in the warmth of your own breath. Those who numb themselves to pain also numb themselves to joy. You cannot close the door to sorrow and still expect laughter to find you. To live fully is to let life move through you, all of it. The joy that fills your lungs, the grief that breaks your heart, the love that leaves you trembling, the fear that makes you humble, they are all sacred teachers. Each one chisels you into the shape of your truest self. Each one refines the gold in your soul. When you allow yourself to feel, you are not just surviving, you are participating in the divine art of being human. And do not be ashamed of your sensitivity. The world will call it softness, will call it too much. But I say, it is your power, because it is the tender-hearted who see the unseen, who hear the unspoken cries, who lift others with a touch, with a word, with a knowing look that says, I understand. Your empathy is a bridge between souls, your compassion a quiet revolution. Feeling is the thread that binds us. It reminds us that no one walks this earth alone. When you feel, you heal. Every tear that falls is a seed. It waters the garden of your becoming. Every ache you survive stretches your heart to hold more love than it did before. You become vast, spacious, alive with light. You begin to see that feeling is not the opposite of strength, it is strength. The kind that does not boast or shout, but endures and embraces. The kind that heals rather than conquers. So, when your heart trembles, do not run from it. Sit with it. Let it speak. Let it tell you where you have loved, where you have lost, where you are ready to rise again. Feel, my dear, for that is the proof that you are still here, still capable of wonder, still capable of change. The world needs your tenderness. It needs hearts that still break for what is wrong and still open for what is beautiful, because the ones who feel deeply are the ones who keep humanity alive. And when your heart grows heavy, when the weight of your caring feels too much to bear, remember that very ache is evidence of your power. It means you are alive and that your spirit has not gone silent. So hold your feelings close, cradle them like sacred flame. They are the light that keeps you human, the warmth that keeps you kind, and the truth that reminds you you are and have always been something special. You are special because you dream. Even when the world calls your dreams foolish, even when the mirror shows you nothing but doubt, still you dream. And that dreaming, that holy imagining, is the first step toward creation. Dreams are not idle thoughts floating in the wind. They are the blueprints of the soul. They are the whispers of your higher self, the quiet messages from the divine, saying, there is more to you than what you see. Every great thing that ever came to be, every bridge, every song, every act of love began first as a dream, tender and unseen, held close in the heart of someone who dared to believe. Dreaming is a sacred act. It is the rebellion of hope against despair. It is the refusal to let the darkness of circumstance define the light of possibility. The world may tell you to be practical, to shrink your vision to fit its comfort, but your dreams are not meant to fit into small boxes. They are meant to stretch you, to pull you beyond the edges of fear, to remind you that you are made of more than what has been done to you. When you dream, you are declaring to the universe, I am still willing to grow. And that, my dear, is courage in its purest form. Dreams are born in the quiet, in the late night hours, when the world grows still and the soul begins to speak. They rise from your hunger for meaning, from your longing to touch something greater. Sometimes they come as wild visions, sometimes as gentle nudges, but always as reminders that life is not finished with you yet. Do not dismiss them because they scare you. The dreams that frighten you the most are often the ones that reveal your true power. They stretch your spirit to its full height, and in that stretching, you meet the version of yourself you were always meant to become. I have known people who buried their dreams because life told them no too many times. They learned to silence the song in their heart, to trade wonder for safety, to call surrender wisdom. But safety without spirit is not living, it is only surviving. And you, my dear, were not born merely to survive. You were born to create, to build, to imagine. Your dreams are not childish fantasies. They are the roots of your destiny. They are the maps your soul draws toward purpose. Do not be discouraged if your dream takes time. The seed does not bloom the day it is planted. It must rest in the darkness first, hidden, unseen, gathering strength. The same is true for you. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment, they are not denials. They are preparation. Life is teaching you patience, molding your character, shaping your voice. Because when your dream finally rises, it must have deep roots to stand tall. The waiting is not punishment, it is sacred work. And know this, no one can dream your dream for you. People may inspire you, they may guide you, but the vision that was placed in your spirit belongs to you alone. Protect it, feed it, speak life into it, even when others do not understand. There will be moments when your dream feels too big for your hands to hold, and that is all right. For it was never meant to fit your hands, it was meant to fit your heart. The world moves forward because someone, somewhere, refused to stop dreaming. Someone looked at the impossible and said, maybe not today, but someday. The bridges we cross, the songs we sing, the freedoms we cherish, all of them were born in the imagination of dreamers who believed in something unseen. So, do not give up on your dream, no matter how many times the world tries to silence it, for your dream is not just for you, it is for those who will come after you. When you rise, you lift others with you. So, hold your dreams close, not as fragile fantasies, but as sacred fire. Feed them with faith, protect them with action, nurture them with patience, and when the time comes, let them burn brightly enough to light the path for someone else. For in the end, what makes you special is not just that you dream it, is that you keep dreaming, even when the night is long, even when the world forgets how. Because to dream is to live twice, once in imagination, and again in the miracle of becoming. You are special because you give. The gentle touch, the word of kindness, the forgiveness no one asked for. These are quiet miracles that shift the weight of the world toward light. Giving is not always about grand gestures or shining moments. It lives in the small unspoken acts, in the way you listen when someone's voice trembles, in the way you offer a smile to a weary stranger, in the way you share a piece of your own hope when someone else has lost theirs. True giving is not measured by what leaves your hands, but by what flows from your heart. It is love in motion, the invisible current that binds one soul to another and says, I see you, I care. There is a kind of beauty that can only be found in generosity. The beauty of a spirit that does not keep score, that gives without asking who deserves it. The world tells us to protect ourselves, to hold tightly to what is ours, to give only when there's a promise of return. But the soul knows a deeper truth, that what you give freely becomes part of something eternal. When you give kindness, it multiplies beyond sight. When you give love, it ripples through lives you may never meet. The gift may seem small, but its reach is infinite. I have seen givers who had almost nothing, yet their hearts overflowed. A mother dividing her last piece of bread, a friend offering time they did not have, a stranger offering comfort to someone in pain. That is the kind of wealth that cannot be stolen or spent, the wealth of a generous heart. When you give from that place, you are not losing, you are expanding. You are stretching your spirit to make more room for light. You are saying to the universe, I trust that what I give will find its way back in another form. And it does, always. There is also a giving that comes from forgiveness, a kind of gift that asks for no recognition. To forgive is to give peace not only to others but to yourself. It is releasing the burden of bitterness, freeing the soul from carrying pain that no longer serves its growth. When you forgive, you are not saying that the wound was small. You are saying that your spirit is larger than the wound. That, my dear, is one of the most sacred forms of giving, the giving of grace. Sometimes giving costs you. It may ask you to love when you have been unloved, to trust when trust has been broken, to pour out kindness from a heart that is still mending. But even in that, there is beauty. For giving has never been about ease, it has always been about truth. It asks that you live with open hands and an open heart, knowing that what you share may not be returned, but will never be wasted. The universe has a way of keeping balance, and what you give in love will always find its way back, sometimes quietly, sometimes in ways you could never imagine. To give is to believe that humanity still has goodness worth nurturing. It is to participate in the healing of the world, one small act at a time. You may think your giving is insignificant, a kind word, a gesture of patience, a small offering, but every act of love is a seed planted in the soil of tomorrow. Someone, somewhere, will walk through the garden your kindness helped grow, and do not think that giving makes you lesser. In truth, it makes you larger. It expands your spirit beyond the confines of self and connects you to something vast and divine. The river that gives water does not run dry. It is kept alive by the very act of flowing. You are that river. You were not made to hoard, but to pour. You were not made to withhold, but to share. So give what you can, when you can, with whatever love you have left. Give not because you have plenty, but because you know what it feels like to have little. Give not to be seen, but because giving is the song your soul was born to sing. And when you give, let it come from a place of gratitude, not duty. Let it rise naturally, like breath, like sunrise. For every act of giving is a quiet declaration that you believe in hope, that you trust in love, and that you still see beauty in a world that sometimes forgets its own. And when all else fades, when words grow faint and time has passed, what will remain are the ripples of what you gave. The love, the kindness, the grace you scattered along your way will outlive you, echoing softly in the hearts you've touched. That, my dear, is the legacy of a giving soul. And that is what makes you special. You are special because you are. Before you earn, before you prove, before you please, you are. The breath in your chest, the pulse beneath your skin, the spark behind your eyes, these are divine testaments that you belong here. So many people spend their lives chasing worth as if it were something hiding in the distance, something to be won, something to be deserved. But worth was never meant to be chased. It was born with you. It breathes with you. It walks beside you. You were worthy from the moment the world first whispered your name. You do not need to become enough. You already are. Too often we are told that our value depends on what we achieve: the job, the body, the home, the approval of others. The world will hand you measuring sticks that were never meant to fit your soul, but you are not the sum of your accomplishments. You are not the reflection of someone else's gaze. You are the quiet miracle of being. You are sunlight on an ordinary day. You are the whisper of possibility carried on the wind. You are here, and that alone is sacred. There is no audition for existence. You are not here to earn your right to belong. You belong because you exist. I have seen people spend their lives trying to prove they are worthy of love. They exhaust themselves polishing their surfaces, shrinking their truth, performing their pain into palatable pieces. But love does not require perfection. It requires presence. To be loved truly, you must first be seen not as you should be, but as you are. And that begins with your own eyes. When you look at yourself, not with judgment, but with wonder, you begin to see what creation has always known, that you are enough, not almost enough, not someday enough, but enough right now as you breathe. To know that you are is to walk with a kind of peace that cannot be taken. It is to move through the world with quiet confidence, not because life has been kind, but because you have learned that your worth is unshaken by its storms. The winds may howl, the rain may fall, but the tree does not forget its roots. You are that tree planted deep in the soil of divine intention. Your existence is proof of purpose. You were not an accident of time or chance. You were dreamed into being by something far greater than fear, far stronger than doubt. And if you have ever felt unseen, unloved, or unworthy, know that even in your loneliness, you are not forgotten. You are held by the same breath that turns seasons and stirs oceans. You are written into the fabric of life itself. There has never been and will never be another you, not with your voice, not with your heart, not with your particular way of seeing beauty in what others overlook. That is your miracle. That is your inheritance. There will be days when you forget this truth, days when you question your place, when the mirror seems too quiet, when your reflection feels like a stranger. In those moments, remember, even the sun disappears from the sky, but it does not stop shining. Your light may hide behind clouds of doubt, but it never ceases to exist. You are the light, my dear. Even when unseen, you are still radiant. To be is to hold infinite possibility. Within you lives the capacity to create, to heal, to love, to change the world with nothing more than your presence. You do not need permission to shine. You do not need validation to matter. You were born with everything you need to be whole. The river does not ask for approval to flow. The stars do not seek applause to burn, and neither should you. So when the noise of the world grows too loud, when it tells you that you are not enough, not beautiful, not successful, not worthy, return to your breath. Feel the quiet rhythm that has carried you through every storm. That steady beat is life itself, whispering, you are, and that is everything. And as you walk this earth, carry that truth gently but firmly in your heart. You do not have to strive to be special. You only have to remember. For your very being, your laughter, your tears, your story, your silence is proof of the divine in motion. You are special because you are. And that, my dear, is the beginning and the end of it all. And so, my dear ones, when you walk back into the noise of the world, when the demands of life begin to pull at your spirit, when doubt whispers that you are small, remember what you have always been. Remember that you endure, that you feel, that you dream, that you give, and that you are. You carry in you the strength of generations, the tenderness of love, and the fire of purpose. You are a living testament to resilience, a breathing poem written by creation itself. Do not wait for the world to tell you that you matter. Tell it yourself with the way you live, with the way you love, with the way you rise each day, and choose to be kind in a world that forgets kindness. Walk with your head lifted, your heart open, and your spirit unafraid. Let your existence be a light that reminds others of their own. And when you stumble, as all of us do not forget, falling does not make you less worthy. It only reminds you how strong you are when you stand again. So go forward in courage. Speak gently, love fiercely, dream boldly, and give freely. Let your life be proof that ordinary hearts can carry extraordinary grace. You are special, not because of what you own, not because of what you've done, but simply because you are. Good luck on your journey, my friends. May your path be filled with light, your heart with peace, and your soul with the unshakable knowing that you are enough. Thank you.